Hello and welcome to this March 9th, 2024 edition of Sports Chowder with me, Sam Stebbins. Today we are talking the unfair media coverage of the Celtics, the Patriots using their transition tag rights, Russell Wilson, and more. Stay tuned. So the Celtics started this week off with an amazing blowout win against the Warriors. The final score was 140-88. And again, after losing to them just 2 years ago in the NBA Finals, this win is just delicious to me. Sadly, they've dropped their last two games. First to Cleveland, after losing control of the game, which was really hard to watch. Just not good. And then losing last night to Denver. Now, of course, after the big blowout to the Warriors, some of that coverage in local Boston media was not as celebratory as one might think. But I don't live in Boston. I don't follow, specific Boston sports talk shows because I'm just not there and it's not as meaningful to me. It's not as local to me. But I do follow national media, and after the loss to Cleveland, there were some really weird takes online. But something that really bothered me was Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd, I like him. I think he's funny. He has a good personality for sports talk radio. And, as a Red Sox fan, I really found his sarcastic tribute to the old Yankee Stadium on his radio show to be really funny. I found that on YouTube a few years ago, and you can easily look it up. It's good stuff. But he had a really interesting take on his radio show after the Celtics lost to Cleveland. And by interesting, I mean just kind of stupid. Like, I know this business is about, making ridiculous statements sometimes to get attention, to entertain your audience. I get that's what people do. I don't blame anyone for doing it. But this was such a reach, it was just insane. So if you watch that game, Jason Tatum had the last shot and he missed it. There was some weird officiating stuff. I won't get into that. I'll talk about what Colin said. Colin said, quote, "You think Michael Jordan settles for that? LeBron settles for that?" Unquote. I have to say, this is a reach and a half. This is not the NBA playoffs. This is not the NBA Finals. It's a regular season game against Cleveland. And at the time, this was the Celtics' 13th loss of the season. It's their first loss since February 1st. Now they've had two losses, but that's beside the point. Yes, it sucked to watch them lose after having such a big lead. There are no excuses for losing like that. But the Celtics are the best team in the association right now. This team has a chance to go down as one of the best Celtics teams of all time. This offense is perhaps one of the best in NBA history. By and large, even after these two losses this week, the Celtics are doing great. We won't know if their legacy is secure until the playoffs. That's the make or break moment. So for now, yes, we'll mourn when they lose. But we know they're the best in the NBA right now. They're in a great position. Let's enjoy this. And hopefully we're going to have a great playoff run pretty soon. The playoffs are when great players become all-time legends. And we're getting into that phase of Jason and Jalen's career. And I'm really excited. So let's just look forward to that, and for now, chill. Moving on to the Patriots, this week they made some signings. Just yesterday they re-signed Hunter Henry, and I'm really excited about that. This week they also exercised their transition tag rights on safety Kyle Duggar. Now, you may be asking, what is the transition tag? Well, you're not the only one. I had to Google it when I saw this news alert. And apparently the administrators of the Patriots' social media pages also had to look up what the transition tag is. So the transition tag means that other teams can make an offer on Kyle Duggar, and the Patriots have a right to match it. Now, unlike a non-exclusive franchise tag, the Patriots don't get any compensation should they not match a competing team's offer. And also, I had to clarify this. Exercising the transition tag has different implications than the franchise tag, but only one of these tags may be used per offseason. So it does count as the franchise tag, it just means something a little bit different. I think Kyle Duggar was a good pick for this tag. Our defense was the one thing that was consistently functioning this season. And as I said on an earlier episode of this podcast, it's important to reward the good, even after a bad season. Now, my idea for the franchise tag was Hunter Henry because he was, one of the rare pieces of our offense that was doing well. But we re-signed him to a multi-year contract. So we're good on that front, and now we possibly are retaining Kyle Duggar with this tag. These are pretty good people to retain. Now, a lot remains to be seen about the future of the Patriots, about this coming season. And like I've said, we won't know until they actually play football. But we have to watch because it's good to know when there are positive signs or possible warning signs. So for now, I'm going to overanalyze every little thing as an obsessive fan who wants to win again. I want to have another winning season soon. Because being a Patriots fan is being annoying to your friends and family about winning. Obviously, there were not many opportunities for that this season. I know I'm not alone as a Patriots fan wanting to get back to annoying everybody else in the NFL. And I'm sure Robert Kraft, Jared Mayo, everyone else in Foxborough feels the same way. So for now, we watch and we wait. And I'm going to be optimistic, because being pessimistic is a waste of time at this point. I'd rather be excited in spite of everything that's happened, and just know that we're all on the same page of wanting to win, because that is what the Patriot way is about. Now, let's broaden our NFL scope a bit, and talk about a big story from this week. The Broncos officially confirmed they are releasing Russell Wilson. Which is no surprise, they benched him late last season. It was pretty clear that they were going to move on. Now it's official. Right now, there are no rumblings about Russell Wilson meeting with the Patriots, but it's not impossible. The Patriots might draft a quarterback at number 3, but bench that quarterback for one season and sign a veteran to start for 1 year while the rookie learns. Essentially signing a bridge quarterback with some experience to take the reins temporarily. And Russell Wilson does fit that description. That's why I decided to talk about this. I have very mixed feelings on Russell Wilson, and it's because I think he's a good person. And he's not the worst person to play quarterback in NFL history. That being said, his best seasons in Seattle were during the peak of the Legion of Boom defense. Seattle was very obviously a team led by their defense, defined by their defense. Despite Pete Carroll often defending Russell, giving him special treatment, giving him more credit and praise than he gave the defense after big wins, everyone else knew that the defense was the reason Seattle won. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with being a quarterback for a team with a great defense. However, subsequent seasons have shown Russell is not a difference maker at quarterback. Now, I think that might make him a good candidate to be a bridge quarterback for the Patriots. But he would have to be on the same page as the Patriots organization. He would have to know this is a 1-year thing while we train up a rookie quarterback. And then he's going to have to find a new place to play football. And I think this could be a good opportunity. It's for him to prove he can still play quarterback for a successful team or relatively successful team. And for the Patriots, it's someone who's not Mac Jones. I do think he's better than Mac Jones. That's not a high bar to clear, but it's worth saying he would be an upgrade over Mac. I think there are better options for a bridge quarterback. I would love if Kirk Cousins came here. I would love if even Joe Flacco came for 1 year, because those guys would kind of know their role, I feel like. Russell might still have an interest in being a franchise quarterback, and he's not going to be that in New England. At least I really don't want that. Regardless of if New England talks to Russell at all, it'll be really interesting to see where he goes and how things play out. I don't think he's a bad person. I want to make that very clear. I just don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback who does well with a good supporting cast. I think that's what the facts really show us with his career. So if the Patriots do meet with him at some point and then decide to sign him, it would not be the end of the world. But he's the bridge, he's not the future. Regardless of if the Patriots have any interest, it will be very interesting to see where he goes and how it pans out. Believe it or not, I have one more NFL story. I know this is a football-heavy program, but the NFL is my favorite league, and I have my strongest opinions about the Patriots and about the NFL. Now, it's being reported that Peyton Manning and his production company, Omaha Productions, are trying to recruit Bill Belichick and Nick Saban to host a Manning-cast-style broadcast next season. Now, I've been a champion of Bill Belichick possibly taking a broadcast job. I've said that on Twitter, I've said that on this show, I've said that in person. He has the personality when he shows it. He has the potential. And I think Nick Saban is in a similar boat. I think when he's talking about football, his real personality shows. However, I have a very unpopular opinion to confess. I really don't care for the Manning cast, and I know most people would disagree. I just don't find the Manning brothers inherently likable. They get on my nerves when they talk too much. Peyton did well on SNL, I'll give him that, but that does not mean I want to watch him during Monday Night Football. I also just don't like the format very much. It's basically a 3-person Zoom call playing over a football game, and it feels very COVID era, and we're a couple years out of that. I'm over that. If you're going to do a broadcast, do it in person, do it in the studio, or don't do it. I would much rather Belichick and Saban do a podcast or do a studio show if they do something together. I would take this Belichick-Saban Manning cast over nothing, though. Again, my dream situation for Bill Belichick is that he joins Fox Sports. It would just be really interesting to see the dynamics between him, Gronk, and Edelman. Edelman obviously loves him for good reason. I think Gronk had mixed feelings, and that's why he retired when he did, or it's one reason he decided to retire. But he's come back around on him to appreciate what he did for his career. And if they can get Brady and Belichick in a booth together, that would be peak television for me. I really do believe sometimes what two people need is time apart to appreciate what they had together. Tom and Bill both are great football minds. Bill is a great coach. Tom is a great quarterback. They have different perspectives of how to win. Often they work together, how they lined up and how they were a contrast to each other. And it got to a point where they had been together for 20 years and it was time for a break. I can't pretend to know what really went down, but I can say they've come back to appreciating each other. In Tom's podcast, the last one he published as a player after he announced his retirement, Bill called in and complimented Tom so much, he quite actually teared up on air. And I know that's not much for Tom, he cries a lot, but still, the fact it was Belichick tells me there is love and there is respect between those two. So it's not quite the impossible dream to want them together in a booth. I know a lot of people want Belichick just to retire from coaching and do broadcasting permanently. And I'm in the same boat too. I think it would just be nice just to chill with him and hear stories from him and hear his takes on what's happening in the NFL. But I'm pretty sure he has the appetite to break the record for most wins by a head coach. And I can't blame him. You know, he's very with it for someone in his 70s, and it would just take him a few seasons with a good team to break that record. So I would not blame him for taking a year off to broadcast and then going back to coaching for a few more years. I think that's what happens. I really do. It will be very interesting to see what happens regardless of what he does. And if he does go to an NFL team, unless it's like the Buffalo Bills, the New York Jets, or the Dallas Cowboys, I'll have a similar relationship with them as I did to the Tom Brady era Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where I was not a fan of the franchise, but I was happy to see Tom's team win, even if it was not the Patriots. Again, Bill Belichick winning, to me, just adds to his case as the greatest coach in NFL history. And it validates years of smack talk I've broadcast about him and about the Patriots. At least that's how I'm choosing to see this. And now, Assorted Awesome. Now, if you watched the Celtics-Warriors game, you may have noticed that in the first quarter, the Warriors made the stupid and downright disrespectful choice to leave Jaylen Brown wide open. And he scored 19 points just in that first quarter. And in his post-game press conference, the Warriors coach was asked about it, and he was like, oh, you got to make decisions about who's going to be guarded. You have to try different things. Whatever, making excuses. And Jaylen Brown found this video on Twitter and quote tweeted it and said, more teams should take this strategy. Now, it's not like the funniest thing in the world to tweet, but it is very savage. And I have nothing but respect for savage people. While we're on the topic of Jaylen Brown again, I want to say I really loved seeing that he scored 41 points last night. Even though the Celtics lost, it's still great to see those 40-plus point games by. It shows us as Celtics fans, that there is so much talent on this team. It goes deep. It's not just Jason. It's not just Jalen. It's not just Jason and Jalen. We have Derek White. We have Porzingis. We have Drew Holiday. We have Al Horford. There is just so much going for us right now. Even though we lost to Denver, it was a close game. And hopefully, we see them in the NBA Finals. They do scare me, though. I would love to play a team that's less talented, but a Boston-Denver NBA Finals would be great to watch, and winning would just be the ultimate legacy-defining thing. Defeat the defending champion, defeat a team that is scary good, much like we can be, and prove these players are special. Prove this team is special. So I'm getting excited for the playoffs. I have nothing but optimism. Jason is 26, Jalen is 27. They're reaching that age when championships start happening for great players, and I think they're going to do it. I oddly enough think the Marcus Smart trade, as painful as it was necessary. Marcus Smart was older, Jason and Jalen would defer to him, and it was time for them to grow up a little bit. Take some responsibility as leaders of this team. And so far they've done that. If they can do that in the playoffs, they are great Celtics. I think if you win a championship, you are a great Celtics. So they are so close, and I think they're going to do it really soon, perhaps this year. I really think, more so than the past few years, we have a shot. We are transitioning from being the young upstart team to being the dominating force. That is about all I have for this episode of Sports Chowder. You can follow me on X at StebbensTweets, and you can follow the show on Twitter at sports_chowder. We are also now on Instagram and Facebook. Our Instagram is @SportsChowder, and our Facebook is Sports Chowder with Sam Stebbins. Please feel more than free to give us a like and give us a follow. Also, last week I shared this show on my personal Facebook and Instagram accounts for the first time, and I gained some new listeners and new followers. If you're one of those people, thank you so much for the support. It means a lot to me, especially because most of you are not Boston fans. So it really is a labor of love to support this show, I'm sure. I will be back next week with another new episode of Sports Chowder. Thank you for listening and thank you for supporting. Have a great week.